Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel ForexPnL. Today is Friday the 12th of May 2023. The markets have closed about 2 hours ago, and now it's time for me to do my weekend Forex forecast for the upcoming week. And as usual, I have a few demand and supply zones to keep an eye on a few currency pairs, and I'm going to be kind of walking you through the thought process that I have for most of these currency pairs and instruments. Okay. So as usual, guys, we're going to kick things off by taking a look at the economical calendar, and once we're done seeing what we have from a high impact news and perspective, then we're going to come back to the charts and take a look and analyze some of the currency pairs that we are seeing some nice opportunities on. All right, okay, so without any further delays, guys, let's take a look at the economical calendar. All right, so if I go to Forex Factory, as you can see here, for next week on Sunday, we don't have any item on the calendar. Okay. And then on Monday, what do we see here? On Monday, we have the Empire State Manufacturing Index, all right, coming from the United States axis at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Okay, that's a high impact news, and we're expecting quite a deviation from the previous release. So let's see how that goes. And then on Tuesday, we do have news coming from the British axis. Okay, claimants count charge. All right, and then obviously we have the high impact. Okay, the CPI data coming from the Canadian axis at 8:30 a.m. Okay, all right, so also at 8:30 a.m. we also have the retail sales that are coming from the United States axis. So this is obviously a time for you to keep an eye on the charts, okay, and be careful as you are placing your trades, also managing your trades. Okay, all right, so that is if you have any trades in relation to the US dollar and Canadian dollar. Okay, now another high impact news that I can see here on the calendar, you can see on Wednesday, we do have the employment and unemployment data coming from the Australian axis, okay, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Thursday, we have a few bank holidays in here, okay, and also we do have unemployment claims coming from the United States axis at 8:30 a.m. Okay, so well, this is quite high impact news. And then obviously we do have Bank of Canadian Governor speaking 11 a.m. on Thursday, and also we have Fed Chair Powell speaking on Friday. Okay, so well, again, a few high impact news here and there, a few bank holidays, but then not a bad week in my own opinion. All right, so let's see how it goes. But now, keeping this in mind, let's now go and take a look at the charts to see what we have cooking for next week, okay, from a technical perspective. Now, if I go back into the charts, obviously I'm going to be kicking things off with DXY. Now, well, upon the release of the consumer sentiments earlier today, we did get very, very impressive numbers coming from the from that data, and that led to the strengthening of the dollar, okay, across the board. And as you can see here, the dollar index obviously gave us a very nice bullish week. Okay, now we are taking a look at the weekly time frame. Gave us a very nice bullish week, closing above the high of the past 3 weeks. Okay, so that's a very significant bullish move in my own opinion. And if you remember last week, when we were doing the analysis, we had spotted this ranging markets in the DXY, and I told you guys I would favor a situation whereby we get a bounce to the upside. Okay, and as you can see now, based on the price that we got, price action we got this week, this is a very nice bullish candle. So in my own opinion, the bulls are still in this market. So what I would be expecting is for maybe the market to open next week, we get some form of a pullback, maybe into demand zones in the smallest time frames, and then from there we'll get a nice push to the upside towards the top of the range. So that's basically it from the weekly time frame. Let's see how it goes. Okay, now if we zoom into the smaller time frame, if we go into the daily time frame, not much. Again, we've broken pretty much this intra week level of a resistance in here, and obviously you can see we have a demand zone in the 4 hours time frame. So if we take a look at the 4 hours time frame, what do we see here? Obviously key level of resistance in this area, and even also in this area as well. Okay, but you can see markets hesitated and then gave us a nice push to the upside, breaking this level of structure and momentum and creating this 4 hours demand zone right around that 102 institutional price level. So well, next week personally I would like to see maybe the markets give us a nice push to the downside towards this 102 institutional price level, which is coinciding with this demand zone that we have in this area in the 4 hours time frame. And then from there I would like to see the bulls begin to come back into this market for further continuation to the upside. Again, remember, anything can happen, but this is what I would love to see next week. Okay, in the event that we get some form of a pullback towards this particular demand zone area. All right. Now, is it possible that the market might just give us some form of horizontal range and then continue again to the upside? Obviously, that is a possibility, okay? But until that happens, there is no way for us to know ahead of time, okay? Next up is going to be US dollar, Swiss francs. Let's see what we have here. Now, from a weekly perspective, you can see this pair gave us a nice bullish week. Not much to say from the weekly perspective. Pretty much closing the week very close to the high of recent weeks, okay? So not much in my own opinion, but again, it's a bullish week owing to that strengthening of the dollar across the board that we saw earlier today. Now, if we go into the daily time frame, again, not much. We do have a key level of our resistance in this area, okay? As you can see here, this is a key level of resistance, and the market is yet to break that level. But then on the 4 hours time frame, as you can also see, we do have some form of our intraday level of resistance around here that the market has broken, okay? So personally, this is not the strongest of levels. Okay, yes, we do have a demand zone here as a result of this break of structure, but you know, I would prefer to see the markets break above this major level of resistance that we have here. So possibility here is very, very possible that this market is going to give us a push to the downside into this demand zone area in the 4 hours time frame, right around, let's say, 0.8925 level, and then from there maybe give us the massive push to the upside that will then break above this particular resistance area that we have on this chart. This is going to be my preferred course of action, and I think right around whenever price is going to do that, you see we probably have some form of trend line in here as well. So probably an additional confluence to pay attention to, in addition to this demand zone that we have here on the 4 hours time frame. Okay, all right, so that's pretty much it for US dollar, Swiss francs. Not much. I would personally like to see maybe the markets give us that pullback first of all. Now, next up is going to be Euro US dollar. Now, if we go into the Euro dollar weekly time frame, well, very nice. You can see the markets. If you remember last week, I told you guys we have a pin bar and then a spinning top last week, and I told you guys chances are that the market is about to now start turning around to the downside, okay? Especially because we do have a monthly supply zone right around the area, okay, right around here, that the market just basically tapped, and then we're about to start turning around. So this might be maybe the beginning, who knows, this might be the beginning of a downtrend, okay, at least in the maybe daily or 4 hours time frame, okay? But again, it's still very early times, nobody can tell for sure, but from the price action that I'm seeing here, you notice that obviously a very nice bearish week, and then what I would love to see early next week is for the markets to give us some form of retracements, okay, into supply zones that have formed in a smaller time frame, and then from right around there, maybe 1.09 institutional price level, from right around there, I'll expect the BS to come back again and continue pushing these markets to the downside. That will be my preferred course of action as we go into next week. Now, from a daily charts perspective, you'll notice that, well, obviously the market is just, we got that nice bearish push to the downside, and then a little consolidation around these lows that we have in this area, okay? And then finally on Thursday we did get that nice break to the downside, okay, and followed up again massively with another bearish candle for today. So well, what I would love to see obviously is for the bulls to come in and, you know, at least cause some form of bullish move, okay, retracements, but finally I would expect the bears to, you know, come into these markets and continue pushing things to the downside, okay, right around anywhere from right around that 4 hour supply zone. All right, now taking a look at their 4 hours time frame, what do we have here? You notice that obviously the markets give us a break of this particular level. You can actually even extend this level all the way to this area here, okay, so we got a break of that level. Market has pulled back in the smaller time frame and gave us a continuation, but then give us a very little range in this area, okay, for a day, and then massive push to the downside. All right, now what I would love to see, obviously, like I have said, is for the markets to give us that push, maybe it was 0.9825 area, 9830 area, anywhere in this neighborhood, in this 4 hour supply zone, in my opinion, is going to be a high quality setup for one to start searching for short opportunities for further continuations to the downside. All right, so that's pretty much it. It's looking more bearish than bullish now. Market has now finally broken free from that ranging markets that we have, you know, for a very long while. Okay, this is the ranging markets that I'm referring to. So the market has broken free from that ranging market. So I would like to see the markets give me a push to the upside into this 4 hour supply zone, and then from there I would like to see the bears coming to these markets to continue pushing the markets to the downside. All right, so that's pretty much it for euro US dollar. Next up is going to be Australian dollar US dollar. Okay, again in a very similar manner, you can notice that this market is now again pushing to the downside as we anticipated from last week. The markets gave us a very little push to the upside to create the high of the week, and also grabbing liquidity above this high that we have here, and then from there you can see the markets have now turned around and started pushing heavily to the downside. All right, in my opinion, we are looking bearish, and right now the markets, obviously, if you remember last week, we had pointed out these ranging markets that we have in this area. We pointed out this range, and this being also the bottom of the range. Okay, so market is trading now closer to the bottom of this range that we have on Australian dollar US dollar. Yes, we're still inside the range, so this is still early times. But what I would love to see in this pair is for the markets to give me a break to the downside. Okay, since we are seeing some strengthening of the dollar across the board, I would like to see the Australian dollar US dollar pair give me a break to the downside, and then when that happens, I'll be searching for pullbacks, obviously, for further continuations to the downside. All right, now that being said, you notice that even right now we do have supply zones that have formed in the smaller time frame, not in the 4 hours. Okay, the 4 hours, not much has happened in my own opinion for me to pay attention to. But then if we move into the hourly time frame, the price action becomes even clearer. Okay, you notice that the markets gave us this hesitation. Okay, we had these sideways markets for a while, and then finally boom, and a very nice push to the downside that pretty much broke these levels of structure that we have in this area. So what I would love to see next week is for the markets to give me a nice push to the upside, okay, towards, let's say, 0.6675 level, anywhere from right around there. I would like to see the bears coming to this market to continue pushing these markets to the downside, at least towards the low of this range that we have at let's say 0.6575 area. Okay, so anywhere right around here, that would be a very nice area to at least book some profits in anticipation that the market is going to give us a push to the downside to break below this range, like we can see from the daily charts. Okay, now that doesn't mean the markets cannot break above this supply zone and just continue shooting to the upside, but based on the price action that I'm seeing on the charts right now, this is what I would prefer to see from a price action perspective as we go into next week. All right, so that's it for Australian dollar US dollar. Now next up is going to be New Zealand dollar US dollar. I really don't have much in this pair, to be honest with you. Yes, it's looking bearish just like the other dollar pairs that we just analyzed, but in my own opinion, it's really dirty. Okay, I'm not really gonna waste my time in this pair, to be completely honest with you. Still stuck in some form of ranging markets right around here. Okay, you see this being the top of the range, and this being the bottom of the range right around this area. Okay, not the best looking price action. Let me drop this a little higher. Okay, so something of this nature. So we're still quite similar to the price action we have in Australian dollar US dollar. Okay, but right now, again, I prefer the Australian dollar currency pair to what I'm seeing here in the Kiwi. Okay, so let's see how this goes. But again, all in all, I would like to see this markets maybe give a pullback and then a continuation to the downside, breaking below the low of this particular range that we have around 0.6100. Okay, but then once we get that break, who knows, maybe the markets might not give us a very nice pullback, and then from there I would like to see the bears continue to flex their muscles in these markets. Okay, so this is kind of the price action that I would like to see in New Zealand dollar US dollar. However, right now I really don't like the price action that I'm seeing. Okay, all right, now next up is going to be US dollar Canadian dollar. Now, this one played out to pretty much perfection from what we had analyzed for last week. Guys, if you remember, this is the daily charts. I told you guys last week, I think last week the markets closed right around here. I had identified this triangle, okay, or this flag formation, so to speak. And I told you guys I would like to see the markets give me a push to the downside towards this particular the lower bound of this flag, and then from there I would like to see the bulls coming to this market, and you can see this is exactly what the market has done. I'm not an oracle, but guys, this is what happens when you take your time to analyze and read price action on your charts. Okay, all right, so that's pretty much it. Again, let's just zoom into the smaller time frames and then see what we can get from these particular markets. Okay, now right now obviously you can see that we got that nice push, and then more like a 1 2 3 formation, and then the markets give us a very nice push to the upside. Now let's see, in the hourly time frame, we do have this very nice range and push to the upside, okay, clearing pretty much any supply zones that we have in this area of our charts. Okay, so this is obviously a very nice demand zone to keep an eye on, just right around that 13500 institutional price level. So in this particular currency pair, what I would love to see as we go into next week is for the markets to give me a nice push into, let's say, 13500 institutional price level, which corresponds with this demand zone that we have in the hourly time frame. And then anywhere from here, guys, in my opinion, is a very high quality setup for us to search. I'm searching for long opportunities for continuations to the upside. Okay, at least to maybe focus towards these highs that we have around, let's say, 136.25, 136.50 area. Okay, but this is the price action that I would like to see. I would like to see the bulls continue to flex their muscles in these markets. All right, now that's pretty much it for US dollar, Canadian dollar. Next up is going to be British pounds and US dollar. Now British pounds, US dollar, if we look at the weekly time frame, again quite similar to the other ones, you notice again very full body bearish candle. All right, but again, if we go into the daily time frame, guys, in the daily time frame, you notice that this is a demand zone, all right, that I was keeping an eye on the daily, again as a result of the break of this level of structure. But you notice that we do have a few weak rejections here. You can see these two pin bars, and then Thursday's price action was a bearish one, and Friday again even much more bearish. Okay, and you notice that we are trading very close to the base of this demand zone. Now well, again, we are not getting the reversal yet. It's looking more bearish than bullish, but again, price is still inside this demand zone that we have on the daily charts. Okay, so it's something to keep an eye on as we trade this pair next week. Again, anything can happen, but I think the bears might end up winning this one. What I see happening, or what I would love to see happen in this pair, is maybe for the bulls to come in, flex their muscles a little bit, fill up supply zones that we have in the smaller time frame, and then maybe from here again we might see the bears coming to these markets to continue pushing these markets to the downside. Okay, but again, because this is a demand zone, I would not be surprised if these markets just continue from here to shoot again to the upside. The one thing that is surprising is the fact that we have a demand zone here on the on GU, but then if you go to euro dollar, we don't have that demand zone. So that is why, well, is this a fake price action, and maybe we really do not or the markets might not respect this particular demand zone that we have here. Who knows? Only time will tell. But again, I think the market is looking more bearish right now than bullish. Okay, now that being said, if we go into the 4 hours time frame, you notice that the market has pretty much started to reverse. Okay, you see that we got a very nice move to the upside, and then finally, what do we get? This was the demand zone area that led to the break of this level of structure here. But then from there, the markets tried again to push to the upside, but we did not make a new high. And then from there, the bears came into these markets, breaking below that particular demand zone. We got a push to the upside to retest that particular now supply zone, and you can see from there the markets just dropped heavily, and since then we've been forming lower highs and lower lows, and now we are deep inside this demand zone, and we now have supply zones in the hourly time frame to keep an eye on. Okay, now personally, you notice obviously this is a very familiar price action, more like a flag formation, and then from there you can see that the bears came into these markets and just taking off all these supply zones, all these demand zones that we have to the left. You can see right around this area, right around that 12500 institutional price level. So we do have a very key significant level to keep an eye on. So even though we're in a daily demand zone area, what I would like to see is probably for the bulls to come into these markets towards 12500, and then from there I will expect the bears to continue flexing their muscles in these markets, and finally maybe breaking below this particular demand zone area that we have on the daily charts. Okay, so this is my preferred course of action for GU as we go into next week. Okay, now next up is going to be US dollar, Japanese yen. Again, this one played out almost to perfection. If we go into the weekly time frame, again, I told you guys we have this demand zone area on the daily. Okay, we also had this trend line, and I told you guys that I would like to see the bulls come into this market, push the markets to the downside into demand zones in the 4 hours time frame, and then from there I will expect the bulls to come into these markets. Okay, that was from last week, and you notice that that is pretty much what the markets did. Again, this is the demand zone in the daily time frame. The markets gave us that push into that demand zone, tested that trend line area, even grab liquidity below that trend line, and then from there you see that the bulls have now come into this market in momentum, and I think we are going to continue with this momentum for a little while. Okay, now if we go into the 4 hours time frame, what do we have here? This was the level I told you guys that I would be interested in buying from this week. So guys, you can see from here the markets gave us that push into that demand zone area, and then you can see that from here the bulls are now coming into this market. All right, now for this particular week, what do we now have? Obviously the market has given us a very nice push to the upside, breaking above this level of structure that we have in this area. Okay, we have a level of structure right around here, and the market has clearly broken above that level, and in so doing we now have a demand zone form in the hourly time frame, which I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on, okay, as we go into next week. So again, my preferred course of action for next week, obviously you can see that area of resistance that I was talking about, and the market has broken it in momentum, creating this demand zone in the process right around 13500 institutional price level. So what I would love to see next week is for this market to give me a push to the downside into, let's say, 13500 area, anywhere from right around here, this demand zone, guys. I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. Okay, this is going to be my preferred course of action. Again, remember, the markets can do whatever, but this is what I will prefer to see next week. Okay, as we go into next week. Now that's pretty much it for US dollar Japanese yen. Next up is going to be British pound some Japanese yen. Now again, this particular pair, we are actually sitting, the market's just pretty much tapped the top of this particular demand zone. You can see obviously this is a demand zone that led to the break of this level of structure that we have in this area. Okay, so you notice that the market's just tapped the top of that particular demand zone, and from there the market is now pushing to the upside. Personally, to be completely honest with you, I would have preferred this market to give me a deeper push, okay, into this particular demand zone right around, let's say, 16700 area, and then from there, this is where I would have loved to see the bulls start coming into this market. Okay, but who knows, is it possible that the market gives us another push to the downside into, let's say, 16700 area before the bulls start coming into this market? Or will the markets just maybe give us another push to the downside, just enough to maybe grab liquidity below these lows that we have here, and then maybe from here continue to the upside again? But again, only time will tell. Not the clearest price action in my own opinion, but clearly I would personally love to see this market give us a deeper push into this particular demand zone area. In the event that the market does not do that, and let's say we just tap this demand zone again and continue to the upside, then obviously I'm going to be keeping an eye on the smaller time frames. Okay, just let's say keeping an eye on this particular area of structure that we have on our chart, and then upon a break of this particular area, one second, let me show you exactly what I mean. Upon a break of this particular area, okay, to the upside, then I'll be looking for demand zones that's forming the smaller time frames in this neighborhood, anywhere right around here, guys. I will now be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. Okay, so let's see how it goes. If we get the deeper push, then I'll be more interested in going long right around this area. Okay, so let's see how it goes, guys. That's pretty much it for British pound Japanese yen. Next up is going to be Swiss francs Japanese yen. Okay, a very nice pair. You can see this one came very close pretty close to my alert, but did not trigger. That's okay, and you can see that from right around that area, the market has now given us a very nice push to the upside. Obviously, we are sitting inside this particular demand zone on the daily charts. This is the demand zone, okay, that led to the break of this level of structure. The market has now pretty much tapped deep into that particular demand zone, and from there you can see that the bulls are coming into this market. But personally, like I said, I would like to see this market give me maybe another push to the downside towards these lows that we have here. Let's say price action of this nature. If we get anything of this nature next week, then I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside in this particular currency pair. So I think that long-term moves are brewing in the yen crosses. Let's see how it goes. Okay, personally, I'm seeing a bullish yen move. Okay, another nice leg to the upside, which will be pretty similar to this leg that we have in this area. Okay, I would like to see something of that nature in this area as well anytime soon. Okay, so that's kind of what I would love to see in Swiss francs Japanese yen as we go into next week. Now, next up is going to be Australian dollar Swiss francs. Okay, now Australian dollar Swiss francs again played out to perfection. If you remember from last week, I told you guys that I'm keeping an eye in this particular supply zone area. Okay, I told you guys that the market has dipped into the supply zone and grabbed orders, but again, I would love to see the markets turn around from this area. So you notice how the markets gave us that reversal pattern, and now the bears are in these markets right now. So personally, I'm looking for bearish opportunities in this particular currency pair. Now, if we go into the 4 hours time frame, again, we'll see how the market is moving. Very nice price action. You notice this area that we have here, the market's just tapped in, and from there, the bears are now coming into this market again. Personally, what would I like to see in this pair? Well, more price action is needed. Okay, there was a trade I missed today. This trade right here, this was the supply zone that I should have traded earlier today, but again, I've missed this one, and this is gone. So what I would like to see next week is for more price action to develop. Okay, maybe possibly a nice push to the downside, maybe upon markets open, maybe a push to the downside into this demand zone area that will now probably create the retracement that is needed, okay, into, let's say, any supply zones that will now form in this area right here. And then from here, maybe I will expect the bears to start coming into these markets for further continuations to the downside. Okay, but right now the traffic is looking bearish in my own opinion. Okay, all right, so that's it for Australian dollar Swiss francs. Next up is going to be New Zealand dollar Swiss francs. Okay, now for New Zealand dollar Swiss francs, what do we have here? Again, very similar. If you guys remember from the daily charts, this one played out again to perfection. I told you guys this is the supply zone that I'm keeping an eye on. Okay, and you notice how the markets from here has given us that reversal. Okay, it's the downside, right? And right now, obviously, it's now green lights to start searching for short opportunities, because in my own opinion, I believe the market is probably going to make it towards these lows that we have here, at least at the minimum. Okay, now if we go into the 4 hours time frame, everything has just been bearish candles all through, so no supply zones other than this origin candle that we have in this area. But then we can see that we have a level of structure here. Okay, previous level of resistance that worked as support right around that 0.5600 institutional price level. So again, let's say in the hourly time frame, personally, I would like to see maybe the markets give us a push to the upside. Okay, who knows, if from here the market opens and gives us a push to the upside towards 5600 area, I think that would be a nice area to start searching for short opportunities again for further continuations to the downside. Okay, another case is, let's say the market opens and we just continue bearish. If the market continues bearish, first of all, then maybe a supply zone will form right around, let's say, 0.5550 institutional price level, and then I will expect the markets to give me a push into that area, from where I'll start searching for short opportunities for further continuations to the downside. So again, more price action is needed. We need to see how the market develops as we go into next week before I can make any decisions in this particular currency pair. All right, but again, every traffic right now, in my own opinion, is looking more bearish than bullish. Now, that's it for New Zealand dollar Swiss francs. The last but not the least is gold. As usual, you guys know that I don't trade gold, but again, since you guys want me to analyze it, here it is. Now, obviously, last week we had pointed out the fact that we have retested this area of significant resistance on our charts. And again, pay attention, because this is the weekly time frame. 2080 area has been a key area of our resistance on this particular chart. And you notice that last week we did get a pin bar formation. Okay, and this week again was also a pin bar. Okay, the bulls came into these markets but did not even get close to the high of last week, and we ended this week again with some rejection. Okay, a pin bar formation, and not only that, this is also an inside bar formation at this point. So what does that mean? A breakout is imminent, and well, until that starts happening, personally, in this case, obviously, I would prefer to see a bearish breakout. Again, paying attention to the low of this particular pin bar here. So personally, I would like to see price give me a break to the downside. But again, until it takes off, let's say 1975 level, that is when I'll be interested in searching for short opportunities into this weekly demand zone area. Because right now, if you pay attention in the daily time frame, we are currently sitting in a demand zone. Okay, this is a demand zone that led to the break of this level of structure. Little wonder why the markets dipped into this area and gave us this reaction. Okay, but again, it's probably getting weaker now, and maybe over time we might get some form of price action that will just break below this low of this demand zone. And when that happens, I think it's going to be green lights to start searching for supply zones, okay, short opportunities off of supply zones in the smaller time frames until we get into this weekly demand zone area. Okay, so that's pretty much it for gold, and that's pretty much it for my forecast for this particular week. Hope you gained some value from this video. As usual, if you did, guys, please do not forget to click on that like button, subscribe to my channel, and click on that notification bell so that you will always get updates whenever I post a video. Cheers, and see you next week. Bye-bye.